we just, good morning, everybody. It's really nice to see everybody. It's a beautiful morning. Nice to be seen. We're, this is the first breakfast of the new year for us, and very, very grateful to have Scott Hatch here to tell us about his Grand Canyon run that he did recently. I also want to tell you, Crosby's, again, is our sponsor for the men's breakfast, so they're supporting us with groceries, which is really wonderful, a tremendous help. And next month I've already scheduled, and Chief Cudmore will be our guest speaker next month, September 5th, just talking about his new role and some of his future plans perhaps. But so glad you're here, and really appreciate Scott being able to tell us about this. This was very interesting as he was getting ready for the run. I was really intrigued. So thank you for coming. I'm going to get, we still have more, and I've got some more coffee and whatnot. So I'll just come around and do that while Scott starts to talk.
Great, thank you. 10:30? Okay, great. Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I know quite a few of you, actually, from around town, or maybe I've seen you in some situations at night or something, early in the morning, because I work 11 to 7 in Georgetown, where you may need some help or something, or assistance, or the lights went out, or someone was cooking on the stove and woke everybody up, or something like that.
We don't do that.
You don't do that. So, as Colleen was saying, we had, I did a Grand Canyon run in April, and just to go back a little bit, over the last couple of years, I've been exercising lightly. I've gained quite a bit of weight over the last few years, and last year a friend of mine had passed away, and one of his brother-in-law at the eulogy said that this gentleman wanted to live life every day, just go out and live life, do things when he gets a chance and that type of thing. And that gave me a little bit of incentive to start losing weight again. I've lost about 60 pounds now doing exercise and that type of thing over the last 2 years. But when we were at actually his reception, my sister had mentioned we turned 50 this year. I have a twin sister. We turned 50 this year, and she had mentioned that for her 50th birthday, her and a couple friends were going to do a Grand Canyon run. So I said, hey, you know what? I just heard a nice eulogy, do things as they come. I said, can I join you? And she looked at me and said, seriously? You're a little overweight right now, and I don't know. This was back in November or December of last year. And the run was for April. I said, I think I can do it. So I started running, exercising, and that type of thing. And when we explained the run, it's the Grand Canyon run. It's called an R2R2R. It's a rim to rim to rim. So you're going from the south rim of the Grand Canyon, down into the canyon, across the Grand Canyon, up to the north rim, back to the south rim in a day. 50 miles.
Wow.
Which, 50 miles in a day, okay, we can do that. But then you have to consider also, it's over a 20,000 foot change in elevation. So that's over 4 miles. The first trip down is 6,000 feet down, so it's a mile down into the canyon. And it's not just a mile straight down like you drive a car, it's a mile of switchbacks. So it's actually about 6 miles just to get down to the canyon. Then it's about 10 miles across the canyon in 85-degree weather, because it's nice out during the day. And then you get to the north rim, which is another 7 miles up. That's 8,000 feet in elevation. You get to the top, and then you have to come back and do it again. So it's 25 miles across, and then 25 miles back.
That on foot?
That's on foot, yes. Now, the equipment we brought was this. It's a backpack. There's a hydration system in here. It's about 3 liters of water, which we had. And in this backpack, it's got water in it right now. It probably weighed about 10 pounds. So we have 10 pounds on our backs. There's a couple different water stops on the way, but because it was in April, the north rim is closed. It still has snow on it. So there's no water stops for the last 8 miles up and 8 miles back. So you have to carry enough water to go 16 miles from 85 degrees up to about 40 degrees and then back down to 85 degrees. So it was a little testing at that point. Some of the food we brought was what's called goo. It's just a little power booster that you take. We also brought the liquid baby foods, because who gets better nutrition than babies? So the liquid baby foods, they were small, so we got to eat those. I brought a half a peanut butter and jelly bagel. That was my treat when I got halfway.
Uh-oh.
Did I blow a fuse?
Fused.
Oh,
You
no.
blew the
Fuse.
switch.
We probably blew a fuse.
Well, the generator just kicked in.
Al did that. It's gonna come on in a minute, the emergency power.
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
The generator in the yard, it's
Of
stopped
course,
up.
he's got to
A little
repair.
bit slow on pulling this.
And I also wore what's called the GoPro. I wore this on my head the whole time. Not too many people saw me, so it's okay. But it's a camera, it's a video camera. So I actually took video of our run as well while we were doing it. So that was a little different. I had never worn this before, so some of the first videos are a little scary. But also, I'm trying to pay attention to the video, and I'm trying to not fall off the edge of the canyon because some of the trails are only this wide, and then you're in the canyon, so you have to be careful. We started at 3:30 in the morning, and we finished at 12:30 the next morning. It took us about 20 hours. We were planning on 15, but unforeseen circumstances, a couple slow issues, and things like that brought it up to 20 hours. We had planned for 15 hours of water and food, so towards the end we started getting a little tired, but we managed, we did fine. And I highlighted basically where we went across the Grand Canyon. There's a little highlight here. And again, we started the South Rim, which is a very touristy place. We spent a week there getting used to the weather, so we actually flew into Phoenix a week before, and we did the tourist thing. We went to Sedona, we went to Flagstaff, we enjoyed Arizona, is what we did. We went on some day hikes to practice and some day runs with some elevation, because you have to get used to the weather. Okay, you can't just go from here out there in April.
And the elevation.
Mr. Lobley asked who else was there. My twin sister, and 4 others that actually did the whole thing. So there were 6 of us that did the whole run. I say run, it was a run, and my sister Sue as well. I say run, it wasn't a run the whole way. Obviously you can't run down that much, it's too much on your body. And you can't run up that much because it's too much on your body. So during the flats in the middle, 10 miles across each way, we pretty much jogged that the whole way across. It was 85 degrees. When we started at 3:30 in the morning, it was about 33 degrees. So now we're wearing jackets. We have to bring those, right? The first 10 miles, those 7 miles is down, basically, with the switchbacks. And then we go 3 miles across. We get into a place called Phantom Ranch, which a lot of people go to hike and sleep out. So they sleep there, and then they continue their hike. We asked a ranger before we did it. We said, what advice can you give? Because we've never done it. We've talked to a few people that have done it. His advice was, don't die. That's what he said. Don't die. That's all he said, and he walked away. They do not recommend it. There's signs all over the place that say it's not a day hike, don't do this, don't do that. There's some warnings on here. It says, day hikes are not recommended. Let's read it real quick. Yeah, hiking to the river and back in one day is dangerous, is what they say. Now, on the map, the river is only 10 miles away. So it's the Colorado River, which is beautiful, actually. It's green. Oh, it was green that day. Flowing through, but it's 10 miles away, so a 20-mile hike is not recommended. So the 50-mile hike clearly isn't recommended. The signs everywhere tell you not to do it. So again, it was 33 degrees when we left. By about 6 a.m. we were down in the 60s. It wasn't too bad. But now we have our jackets. What do you do with your clothing and stuff? We're not going to carry it the whole way, so we hid it behind some bushes. So when we came back, we could grab it and pick it up. So that's what we did. When we got to the North Rim, there was still snow up there. The North Rim is closed again, so it's only good, you can only access it through the canyon. We passed a couple groups that were doing the same thing as we were. A couple that had done it 4 or 5 times, they didn't finish it that day. We passed them again coming back, they were on their way back. And a group of 7 people that were running together, males, one of them had had brain surgery and it survived the cancer and the surgery. He was doing that with 6 of his friends and the surgeon. So it was kind of an interesting story. So we're sitting there talking to them about it. So it was nice to get to know people and to talk to people on the way, and you don't get to see very many people. A couple scorpions we saw. We didn't see any. We saw one snake, but it disappeared before we could identify it. Thank goodness. And a couple deer. We saw some elk while we were camping out 2 nights before. So the week we had spent before that, we had been camping. We brought camping gear. We didn't stay in hotels. We were camping out. It was like 25 degrees at night. Everyone thinks Arizona is warm. Well, during the day it was, but at night it's down to 25 degrees, so we were sleeping in tents. We kind of roughed it a little bit, enjoyed it. The night before we ran and the night after we ran, we stayed in a hotel because we figured we needed to sleep. So we went to bed about 7:30, 8 o'clock the night before. And when we came back, we had pizza waiting and beer because we needed something. So again, that was our trip. I'm not sure what the power is going to do here. Hopefully it'll come on.
Another half hour.
Yeah, maybe.
An hour.
Might, because the slideshow is kind of hard to present without a projector. I could do it on the computer, but...
Can you get a socket in that light and plug it in?
Yeah, I know, I should. Plug into a generator.
Is there a cost for that, to do that? Do you have to pay the government or anything?
There's a hiking fee cost. There was 20 of us that went on the trip, families and friends. 6 of us were going to do the ultimate trip, and the others did day hikes. They slept down in the canyon one night, so they hiked down probably 3 or 4 miles and slept down in the canyon, another portion, and then came back. And there's day hike permits and day hike. But as far as the cost for the trip to go down into the canyon and come back, there was no cost for that particular.
Do they check you in and check you out to make sure nobody's lost?
No,
You could walk off the face of the earth?
you could. And literally, you can walk off the face of the earth. A couple areas were pretty scary because they had some rock slides, and because the canyon wasn't open to tourism yet, on the north rim, we had to go around some of those rock slides. So fortunately, that was during daylight, but the paths were only this wide, and then literally you fall off the face of the earth if you're not careful. So you had to be careful. They were out working on those. They were flying in helicopter supplies into the people. You kept seeing the helicopter drops for all the equipment and things like that they were bringing in. They had to bring in, you know, the hydraulic hammers and everything else and the generators so the people could get the rocks out of the way. But the trip down, we on the way back, a couple times we passed. They have mule packs. They bring mules in there, and they bring people in, tourists in on mules, and then they ride them out on the mules. And they do the same thing with equipment for the people that work down in there. If you go down in 10 miles into the canyon, a place called Phantom Ranch, it's a campground basically, where people can camp out and stay overnight and that type of thing, and then do their day hikes. And then you go a little further, there's another campground. So while we were in the canyon, the availability for water was pretty much there. It was just that last 16 miles or 15 miles in between that we had to fill up our packs and make sure we had everything. And that was actually the hottest part of the day because we were arriving at the North Rim around 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Beautiful out there.
It was gorgeous. And you get up to the top of the rim, and it was probably about 50 degrees on the North Rim. The actual drive from the South Rim to the North Rim is 240 miles. Wow. So we cut it into quarters there. Basically we went 50 miles. So that's not bad. But if you consider the elevation of 20,000 feet, I mean that's about 4 miles, 4.5, 5 miles difference in elevation of going up and down, of constant hill climbing. So it was tough. On the way back through.
They want to make sure you're here.
On the way back through, we met a gentleman that was lying on the ground. My sister's like, "Man down over here, man down." And there was a guy lying on the ground, it was filthy, covered with dirt, and he had a bicycle up on a little
within a half an hour.
rack thing, and there's a picture if we can get to it.
Okay.
And we said, "What are you doing?" He was all alone. He's wearing bike gear, bike shorts. He's all alone. He was doing a 750-mile ultra bike ride from, I don't know where it was, ending in Arizona or somewhere. It was ending in 70 miles from where we actually saw him. He was in first place. His name was Max. He was filthy. He had been doing it for about a week. And he's not allowed, you can't ride bikes in the canyon. and so he had to carry his bicycle all the time. You can't use the bike as a tool, so you can't like use the tires to assist you in walking. So he literally had to carry his bike all the way through the canyon. He's going halfway. He's going across to the other rim. He's not going back, but still 25 miles of that.
See you later.
So we met him, so we thought we were doing nothing once we saw him. You know, we felt like our little task was menial. You know, a 750-mile bike ride, and you're carrying a bicycle across the canyon with all the other equipment. And my sister looked at him, she goes, "You need a shower." It's kind of funny.
Yeah, what do you do for water to take a shower here for a week? You don't?
Oh, well, I don't know, if I was doing a cross-country hike or something, or run across from wherever, a bike ride, I might just jump in a brook, you know, at least clean up. But apparently he missed all the brooks on the way. He was pretty dirty. You'll see a picture of him.
Were you allowed to fish in there or not?
I'm not sure. I know they raft and they do some other things in the Colorado down there. And there was a little beach down there when we got there. We didn't spend any time on the beach because we didn't have time to really mill around. We started with nine people, just down to the 10-mile mark, and those 3 that went with us were going to go back. They were just, you know, kind of joining us for the first little bit, just to kind of give us support. And that's actually probably what held us up and took us so long, because when one person has to go to the bathroom, 10 people have to stop. And when one person needs to get a drink, 10 people have to stop. So it takes a lot longer to do things. It's a large group.
Yeah, yeah.
No, we had maps. And it's called Bright Angel Trail. There's 2 trails we can take. We took Bright Angel Trail, which is a little longer than the other one. But we wanted to get our 50 miles in because we were turning 50, so that was a significant number to us.
You can follow your score, I see you.
Right, Paula? Oh, I do it, Paula.
You're right on.
Look at that. Now I can stop talking. Thank goodness for that. So these little tabs,
Oh, look, I see a light.
you see the light? Oh, careful.
Let there be light in that one.
So I'll pass this little map thing around. You can look at it while I'm chatting if you'd like. And these little tablets, these went into my water. They're kind of little supplemental tablets, so they just put in the water. They give it a fruit punch taste and add some sugar, because you need sugar, you need calories. You gotta figure if you're burning all those calories, you have to replace them. Baby food and protein bars and that type of thing. And baby food's actually delicious. I recommend it. It's good. So now on all my runs, I did the Yankee homecoming race the other day. In Newburyport, 10-mile race, and I brought baby food. So halfway through, I just squirted some baby food. It's pretty good. Better than this goo. And we brought power bars and that type of thing. So the slideshow is some of the pictures. I took over 2,700 pictures plus video. We're not going to have 2,700 pictures today because it'll be 20 hours of watching. I put together about 300. Some of them have people in them because when I did the slideshow originally, it was for all the people that went to, so you'll see some of the people we went with. But it was a good time. And I'll be stopping on occasion, explain some of the pictures. So that's rim to rim to rim. That's all the way across.
So how's that, Scott?
That's fine.
Nothing against you, I'm just, so I can see.
There's a horse right there.
Yeah, so you can look
See
through
the horse?
Are the wild horses out there?
Yes.
Looks almost like Alaska.
That shaky bridge?
No, that bridge was real sturdy. Some of the sunsets and sunrises are unbelievable. I'm gonna freeze this one if I can. Now, if you look at this little path right there, we started up in this area and came down, followed that path, and then went down into this hole and ended up over there.
Wow.
So there's a couple better pictures, but I'll stop them on the way and see something.
Doesn't look like much of a trail.
No, it's not much of a trail. Actually, it was a pretty good trail in some areas. It was pretty packed down.
Do they have a date of when this was carved out?
This was over the last millions of years that it just was occurring. And some of the flowers, some of the things you see are unbelievable. And again, some of these pictures look like you stole them off a postcard. It's amazing what they have. But we went to a bird place and I said, we're going to see a bird. We'll see one of those. So I took a picture of that one. That's a frog right there. We took pictures of everything.
Well, you never know when you're gonna get back, so it's important to do.
These cactuses bloom every 10 years. So when you see a bloom on some of them, you take a picture. But there's so many, you're gonna see blooms. It's the group I went with.
Didn't they build a glass walkway pathway over it?
Yeah, we didn't go to that. That was too touristy for us. But they do have a glass walkway where you can stand over the canyon.
In the Indian tribe.
That's a bird right there.
What time?
I don't know. I need my brother-in-law for that. That's a river. That's a river. That's how clean it is. That's water.
Is that a bath?
Now you just shake it in the tree. It's like the prairies and that type of thing, the grass going across. And we visited an old Indian ruin site. The Indians, groups out there, people that own the land, there's a whole bunch of different territorial lands, and they sell jewelry by the roadside, beautiful jewelry, and this is one of their roadside stands that we stopped at, and I bought some gifts for my wife and daughter, and they're gorgeous. They use real gems. This was the tourist part. This is actually the south rim, where we started. And that's a little cave that goes through the canyon. Nice backdrop, huh?
Yeah, beautiful.
We stayed at a hotel when we flew in.
Is there water in some of these cactus?
I don't know. I don't want to get that close. They poked it. I assume there's water, but it's pretty dry. That was a beautiful picture. You get the moon is over the canyon area. Some of these pictures aren't the Grand Canyon itself. It's different areas that have different offshoots of the canyon. This was practicing for one of our runs. My twin sister and I. She got the looks, I got the brains.
You got the brains?
Oh, yeah. Well, you're going to say she's not very smart then, aren't you, right?
What are those trees?
Those are palm trees.
Well,
Pretty big, huh? Yeah. This was actually 1 week to the day of the bombings, of the bombing in Boston. So they had a moment of silence, actually. We had a moment of silence in Arizona. They had the flags at half staff in Arizona. This is Jerome, Arizona right there. So we took a picture at that point. We did a moment of silence. And actually, the streets kind of stopped. It was weird because a lot of people did it. That's our practice, one of our practice runs. So you can see in the background, there's a little bit of elevation there. We're working on some elevation. These things were walking through the campground. Elk walk by you through the campground. This is our start. This is 3:30 in the morning. And we're dressed in cool weather gear. And still some of us have shorts.
Flashlights to see your way when you start that early?
We had headlamps.
Headlamp.
Everybody had headlamps.
Scott, is that Susan?
Yeah, that's my sister right there. We all had headlamps so we could see. We had to go by headlamps. But 3:30 in the morning, you still, there's a little bit of light up in the sky, but once you get down in the canyon, you can't see anything. the bridge going over the Colorado River. As you can see, everybody's in good shape. It's amazing the different views, the 6 of us that did it, amazing the different views of the canyon from different angles in different times of day.
Is that a trail down in there?
There's a trail down in there. This is halfway, there's a little bridge, and this just goes up and down and up and down and up and down. Actually, this one might go around the corner, because I think we were ending up there, is where we were trying to go.
Do you get much rain out there to support all this green?
It rained, while we were there, it rained for 15 minutes and hailed. It was weird. But I don't think they get much rain at all.
Where's the moisture come from, the ground?
Yeah, there's different areas. Here's our bike rider man. As you can see, he's filthy. His bike's up on a, must have been a bent pipe or something that they have in the canyon for something. But his bike can't touch the ground. And you can see how dirty he is. And that's Max. Max won. We checked him on the internet. He won the race. He said if you see another guy coming, a little scrawny guy, he explained to us, and he gave his name, but I can't remember. He said, tell him I'm already at the other end. So he'll get discouraged. But we never saw him, so clearly he wasn't as good as Max. But we had that all planned out. And again, the Colorado River is green. It's beautiful.
What's that?
That's a bird above my head almost. Pretty much even with me in the canyon. Again, that's the Colorado River, the green down below.
How long does it take for a donkey ride to get down there?
I don't know, but they move right along. And they say, get out of the way. If you see the donkeys, they don't like people. Get out of the way of the donkeys, because they'll run you over. And they will, because when we were over the North Rim, they were coming up, and we got out of the way, and they still almost ran us over.
Would you like people if you had to do that as a job?
Probably not. That's my brother-in-law who owned this. He's overlooking some of the canyon.
It's amazing how the color changes during the day.
Yeah, they take pictures in the day and pictures at night. It's completely different.
How many miles do you know that this canyon encompasses?
It's hundreds of miles.
Hundreds of
Yes. From end to end. We're going over there. That's a night picture.
What's that mountain in the back? Oh, there it is again.
Those might be clouds too.
Oh. Nice. Oh.
I've seen a bad fish yet.
No.
No, there's not too many bad pictures. I had three different cameras. I was definitely looking kind of silly.
Videos or cameras?
Cameras and videos. I had 3 different cameras in the video.
At night, did you hear animals howling, or was it silent?
No, we didn't hear anything at night. Not, we were camping out, tenting.
You been there?
No, I'd love to go.
I know.
I know, but I keep sending it.
I'd say if anybody could go to the Grand Canyon, then go to the Grand Canyon. It's amazing. Some of the pictures like that one show the expanse of the canyon, how big it is.
The colors are just so amazing.
You can't make them up. Now this is probably a better picture. We started over here, went down into this little, you see the little, there's like a break right there?
Yeah.
The trail's here, but we weren't on that trail. We went down and into this hole and up through there and ended up right by that top. My brother-in-law took a little walk. He was supposed to be out there.
Yeah.
I think he went over the fence. one of the nature preserves we went to. Let's take a picture up one of the cactus plants, up one of the trees.
Nice shot.
The turtle out there. These are hard to see.
Oh, yeah, there's salmon.
Lizards, we saw some lizards.
That's the gecko.
Is that your sister?
Yes.
Are all these trails maintained by the government or are they maintained by people walking on them?
This particular trail, this was a nature preserve, separate from the canyon that we had gone to. While we were driving, if we just saw something, we just pulled over and went in. That was the nice thing about going the week before. We had no plan. We just needed to get to the canyon by the Thursday so we could do the trip. So when we started seeing things on the way, we just stopped. But
So how long were you gone?
a week, about 8 days. In the canyon, we left Friday morning at 3:30 and got back Saturday night. There's a coyote out in the middle of that field. You can barely see it.
Oh, yeah.
In the mornings, we got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, about 5:30 every morning to see the sunset. Oh, sunrise, I'm sorry. And then we'd watch the sunset. And then camping out, you don't camp till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So it was actually, we needed a vacation after the vacation. It's kind of exhausting, you're getting up early that morning and every morning.
Yeah, you just don't want to miss anything, though.
It seems to be good tree growth out there. There's gotta be lot of rain.
The vegetation, you'll go 50 miles and there's nothing. And then you go another 10 miles, it's all green. It's kind of strange how it works out. And we were actually talking about that because it stuck out. That there's nothing, and then all of a sudden there's trees and vegetation. So it just depends where there's a river or where there's water source. Pulling over the cactus.
You're right.
What's the rules out there? Don't pick and then
Don't touch.
Waxing
don't
gibbous.
touch.
They don't want you touching any of the
Leave it as you see it then.
yeah. Which for the most part, people out there respect that.
Yeah, sure.
Especially people out on the trails and that type of thing, because people that don't like the outdoors aren't generally out there in the trails. Some places, unpacking at night is dark and we spent the day doing something. So we get into our campsites at 9 o'clock at night.
That's a neat show.
Now this picture, again, that's a brook, but you can see a fish right there. So I took a picture. That's how clean the water is.
Wow.
It's so clean you can just look through it.
And its shadow.
Yes. This bird was entertaining to us for a while. I zoomed in a little. But again, some of the pictures, like it's pretty dry here. The grass is all dry. There's not a lot of vegetation.
Any fires?
No, there were no fires when we were out there.
Is that man-made, or the past?
That structure is a structure that was Indian ruins from years and years ago, but they have redone it based on the information that they had.
Native arts. Very nice.
The Colorado River is unbelievable. We stuck our feet in it and said, that was good, let's move on. Unfortunately, when you're doing something like we were doing, you don't have time to sit and enjoy every minute because you'd never move. Because it's beautiful no matter where you are. We had to stop at the amazing sights, not just the beautiful sights. You know?
Isn't it all a flow of the water through the millions of years has made that.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. I can't even imagine how it did it. There was trash, and my friends are not trash friendly, so they actually jumped the fence to go down and grab the trash. So this is them jumping the fence and grabbing the trash. They're not supposed to be on that side of the wall. That's why there's a wall there. But they didn't like the trash. So this picture's better. There's the trail, goes around down through there. That's where we're going. So it looks like a nice trail. It's not too bad. So it's a Bright Angel Trail, descend 4,500 feet from there, 7.8 miles to the Colorado. So it was about 9.6 miles to the ranch. That's the one that's the most heavily used. At that point, people will usually turn around and come back. The mule people, they play the part too. They wear the outfits, they wear the hats. They don't seem very friendly. They seem like the old, old West type people.
Did they talk to you?
We didn't talk to them, no.
They own the land, probably.
I think they just work there. The Grand Canyon Reserve is owned by the government. Slideshow's over when the coffee's done. When we get a little time left. This guy was showing off. Funny names. I had never met these people. My sister's friends with a few of them, but when they found out about the canyon, people just join in, and we kind of meet as we go. And since then, a couple weeks ago, we did a 100-mile bike ride from Twin Mountain in New Hampshire down to Exeter. 100-mile bicycle ride. We did that a couple weeks ago. I did a half triathlon 2 weeks ago. So kind of turned my life around a little bit and doing a lot of exercise. I'm doing 100-mile bike ride in September. Bicycle ride.
Where will that be?
That's the Century ride out of the Seacoast. It's in New Hampshire. Starts in Hampton, Hampton.
I've actually heard about that,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll be doing that. This tree was just kind of weird. It just kind of made you want to sit on it, hang out. It's one of our campsites. Not much, not too luxurious. A couple people in a tent, snoring. Making coffee with propane in the morning. The outfits are beautiful.
Those tables cement, they're awful fat and thick.
Those tables, because it's a park run by the Park Service, on the way through, we went to National Park, my sister, a tree hugger. We went to Park Service campgrounds, so they cement the tables in so people can't take them. They're there year
They're
round.
awful. They're gonna do.
They're real heavy. It's a herring. There's water behind him. It's hard to see because it's so clear.
Well, it's like Georgetown water.
Exactly. We're being recorded, Charlie? Okay.
I put it in a plug for Georgetown water.
That's another thing we did. We planned it to be on a full moon, so it would have more light
That was
when we went. Well, we didn't. I don't say we. I didn't plan anything. I kind of went for the ride. I didn't plan on going until that one day. And my sister says we're doing it. I said, all right, I'll go. As far as you can see, it's just rocks and all these different beautiful areas. And then you have to figure it's a lot more vast than you can even come close to visualizing. You can't see everything. You can't be everywhere at once.
It's hard to imagine what it looked like before it was carved out.
I know. We sat there and we
It
looked
was
at it.
underwater
Yeah.
before it was
Yeah.
carved out.
There's fossils on the high elevation.
Where
Fish
did all that
fossils.
water go to?
Those bristlecone pine trees out there, they're the oldest tree in the world.
California.
Those campgrounds, those pine trees there?
The bristlecone pine,
No, I don't know.
shrunk up thing, but something thousands of years old, they're still growing.
Yeah.
So I did get to pet the mule, it just happened to be a statue.
You carried all those bottles in and you carried them all out?
We carried, as far as what we carried, we left everything in the cars in the hotel last night, but we all had a bunch of luggage because we were there for a week.
Did you carry the tents?
No, because we didn't sleep there. In the hike in, the 20 hours, we didn't sleep. It was all constant. That little motorcycle had 85 miles on it. It's a really old scooter. No, because we didn't sleep. So I had that pack, which weighed about probably 10 to 15 pounds. I'd say probably about 11 pounds. I tried to keep the water at only what I needed.
What do you do for toilet facilities?
They have facilities, they have bathrooms, nature bathrooms, not out in the woods, but they have enclosed structures all the way through the canyon. So we use those.
Can you swim in the water?
Yes, you can. In the Colorado. I don't know about the other water.
I bet it's cold.
Yeah, we stuck our feet in. It was cold. Yeah, some of the old Indian ruins were amazing. Again, reconstructed. They used what they thought was. And you said you have someone coming in at 10:30?
Yeah, the strength training class comes in.
So hiking to the bottom and back in one day is dangerous. Rescue is not guaranteed. Now that's only 10 miles. Right? It's not a day hike. Yeah. Yeah, we call it, in police work, we call that a flu. Apparently I didn't get it. That's why I'm not a detective, I'm a sergeant.
You slip and fall in the river, you're apt to end up in Mexico.
You could. It's been flowing pretty, it was flowing pretty quick.
Yeah.
It probably would have got us out of there faster. When we got back, one of the girls, we had to actually call the paramedics because she was a little hypothermic when we got back. So she was cold. They had paramedics right there at the canyon. They had no rescues that day, which was good. Yeah. This is our way in. It's dark. You can see the difference. The pictures in the canyon looking up
Yeah.
are different than looking down.
Everything looks so green.
Yeah, right in the center of the canyon, we're down by the Colorado where there's water. It's pretty green, and then it starts to dry out.
Is it ever closed for reconditioning or anything like that?
I'm not sure that they close the whole thing. They might close sections of it. But you have to be able to get across. And here's another one. Do not attempt to hike from the canyon rim to the river. Again, that's about 12 miles and back in one day. No warnings everywhere. We didn't heed them.
That bridge a little springy.
No, not at all.
No.
No, that was real stiff.
Oh, okay.
Not like the Groveland Bridge.
The old one? I'll tell you now, I worked in Groveland from 96 to 2000 as a part-time officer. I went under that bridge in 96 to 2000. I don't know when it was. And if you ever went under that bridge, you probably wouldn't have gone over that bridge. And that was then.
I've heard that.
That was
many
then.
times.
Because all I could see was rebar. There was no cement left.
Wow.
That's my sister, twin sister. I had a little injury. She made it. Fortunately, we had a doctor and a physical therapist, and I'm a paramedic as well. On the trip, we're with us, so we're pretty much covered if we got hurt. A little tunnel, 2 miles from the North Rim. We had to stop and take a break. I'd eat my sandwich here. I was exhausted. At some point, you just can't go any further until you have some nutrition, and I needed it right there. And the North Rim, this is the halfway point. In the background, you can see the snow over here. Again, this is closed because you can't get up there. There's snow on the way up, so they don't open it. This was April. They don't open it till May. So there's no water because they don't open up the water jets because they freeze. And the black flies up here were unbelievable. We got to sit for maybe 5 minutes. We couldn't even enjoy it. We had to get out of there. We were getting attacked by flies.
No repellent?
No, we didn't know there'd be flies. And the trail again is a couple feet wide, 3 or 4 feet. Scorpion, I didn't take a picture, so it's not very clear, but maybe get one.
Are the trails all clearly marked?
There's no arrows. If you get to a point where it breaks off right or left, there's usually a sign. Oh yeah, afterwards we had to have a little celebration. Should have kept these pictures out, right?
Do they use paint to mark the trail, like on trees or rocks?
No, they'll use a piece of wood with a carved in, so it stays there for a few years.
The earth is flat.
Only you would see that.
Right?
That's a good picture.
What's the other side?
Well, the elk were pretty big. They're pretty friendly.
Baseball keeps away.
They say more horses' asses than dry horses.
God, this is fabulous. Thank
Colleen,
you
do
so
I have
much.
like maybe 5 minutes? Just want to show like 2 videos or something real quick, just so they can see the.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
So you can see the path on the left.
Yeah.
Literally, you could fall off the edge of the earth. That's not so deep there.
And you have to make room for the donkeys.
Yeah, but we didn't see donkeys here. The donkeys don't come all the way into this area.
Don't get dizzy.
Not recommended for people with vertigo.
No.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, but this the girl in front of me, she's afraid of heights. She has a fear of heights. So I noticed she kept hiking to the right side of the near the canyon side, and I'm like, why are you always on the right? She goes, I'm afraid of heights. So, well, you got over that fear today.
Do you all use walking sticks?
Actually, she borrowed my walking stick. She's the one that had the knee injury.
Okay.
I brought a set of walking sticks. I had never done it before, so I didn't know it. So my sister had some walking sticks she said she'd bring, and I borrowed them, and I'm glad I did. They were helpful for me going up. Going down, I didn't need them so much, but she did because she had a leg injury.
How'd they get that trail?
They built that trail.
Wow.
But again, these are the switchbacks that go through, back and forth, and that type of thing.
Oh yeah, I see it down there.
But the video camera's on my head, so it's a pretty good,
Yeah.
it comes in really nicely. And here's a switchback. You can actually see it come back and go the other way. So this is how steep it is. So you could never run this, besides the fact that it's thin.
I notice you're not looking over the edge.
Well, no, I have to look where I'm going. If I look over the edge, I might go over the edge. You always say you look where you walk where you're looking. If I looked over the edge, I might walk over the edge.
Wow.
But way down here, there's a bridge. You can see a bridge right over there. So we're working our way and we're going back and forth to that bridge. And we're actually trying to get way over here.
Scott, I'm glad you're alive.
Well, I'm glad I'm alive, yeah.
You know, it looks like anything but.
But it was an amazing, amazing thing.
I wonder if there's any statistics on how many people do go up there.
Sure, there was a sign a while ago that said that certain things you're not supposed to do. Some people get seriously injured and they die. Some people got killed.
Yeah, well, when you get advice from a ranger that don't die is your advice. I mean, you know clearly you're not doing the right thing. Maybe you ought to be, trying something else. So this was our way back. We're walking along the Colorado River. Actually, I think we're jogging here. Yeah, we're jogging. You can see the sun way up on the left, flipping onto the thing.
Can you get lost in there?
You could. You could get lost. The trail, again, it's a pretty good trail. It's pretty flat in this area. Not too bad.
No benches to sit down and rest on.
No. Sit on
Plenty
the
of
rock,
rocks to sit
sit
on.
on the ground.
Full of rock.
Yeah.
But isn't it true that maybe the only way you could get lost if you switched to the left or to the right through the Pakabash or something?
Or went off on a different trail and wasn't sure where that trail went. You'd eventually find somebody or something, I'm sure.
Is there an age limit?
I don't know. I don't think so. I didn't see many kids, I can tell you.
Do you all have to agree to a certain cadence in marching and walking?
We agreed that if one didn't finish, nobody would finish. So we were going to stay together as a group. And there was 6 of us, and we had partners. My sister and I were partners, this girl and another gentleman were partners. So you had to check on your partner every 15 or 20 minutes to make sure that they were doing okay. And if for some reason they weren't doing okay, you had to stay with them. So it was an incentive for those people that aren't doing so well, make sure they did well, and it also made sure that everybody was safe.
They allow you to pick up the rocks, throw them out of the way if they're in the path.
I imagine they don't, yeah, that doesn't bother them. If there's something in the way, they kick it out of the way.
Just make sure you don't beam someone on the way up on the one of the
Throw rocks
switchbacks.
out.
Yeah. There's
Throw
not,
rocks off the cliff. And listen
you
to
could
it.
throw rocks all day, you're probably not gonna hit anybody. There's not a lot of people out there. When we went. I'm sure in the middle of tourist season they're out here. But again, I took probably about 12 hours of video. I just kept putting the thing on.
Hi, everybody.
And, so I didn't know how it was going to work out, so I figured I'd just try it.
Yeah.
And it gives a pretty good picture.
What do you, I noticed they're running. Do you run 10 paces, run slow, and then run 10 paces?
We tried to run the middle, the 10 miles in the middle, across each way, to try to speed up the trip, because if you walk the whole thing, it would take a really long time. So we tried to run where it was mostly flat. My sister had a foot problem. She didn't even know up until that day whether she said she'd know within the first 5 minutes whether she'd be able to do it. Because we did, 2 weeks before that, we did a 26-mile run up a mountain in New Hampshire to practice, to make sure we could do it. So that was our practice, a marathon, up a mountain in New Hampshire and down. That was a 5-mile mountain. So we did that as practice, and she hurt her foot that day. She wasn't sure whether she'd be able to do it. But within 5 minutes, she found out she'd be able to do it, so we moved on.
Anybody get foot blisters or anything?
Yes. I got, the only thing I suffered, I had a little blister on my toe. There was another girl that basically her whole foot was a blister. And, different variants of issues. And the next morning I woke up and my calves were sore. That was it. But I had trained the most, I think, for it because I had to. They were all pretty good shape. They were all pretty healthy. I had to lose some weight and train, so I really put forth the effort. Where I work nights, I can train during the day. It was, beneficial to me. So now in the morning, now I train. I go swimming, biking, and running. That's my daily regimen.
Wow.
So I swim across. I'll swim from Pawtucket Pond over to Lake Ave and back in the morning after my shift.
That's good, good.
So someday someone's gonna call and say, there's a guy in the middle of the lake. Go help him,
Looks
that'll be
pretty
me.
tall, he may not be.
You'll be a resident first.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing for exercise now. So
Wow.
that's fun.
Thank you so much. Really neat. We're ready to go.
That's actually a picture right there.